opinions expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of Salem Communications, staff, management, or advertisers. Activist Radio is on the air. You've tuned into the Mark Harrington Show, sponsored by Created Equal. Mark is training a new generation of leaders to take on the culture of death and win.
All right!
If you don't like abortion, don't have one. The only thing that can be said to be objective truth is that there is no objective truth.
It does come out in one piece. It comes out in one piece.
I would argue that we certainly are not all created equal.
And now, here's Mark.
The Word of God says in Ephesians chapter 5, Ephesians chapter 5, verse 11, do not participate in the unfruitful deeds of darkness, but instead even expose them. For it's disgraceful even to speak of the things which are done by them in secret. But all things become visible when they are exposed to the light. And everything that becomes visible is light. You're listening to the Mark Harrington Show, your voice of resistance here on WRFD. And we're going to be talking about today exposing the evil deeds of darkness to the light. And what's happening on college campuses all across America. As you might know, Created Equal takes out our justice riders, young people, to college campuses using abortion victim photography to expose that evil to the culture, to the college campuses, to students and faculty on college campuses all across America. And one of our partners in that, one of our good friends, those who have blazed the trail even before we were doing this, is a group called Survivors of the Abortion Holocaust. Survivors of the Abortion Holocaust. And what that means is that anyone who was born after 1973 is a survivor. Just like those who survived the Holocaust in Germany, there are those who are survivors. Anyone that was born prior or before or after, 1973 is a survivor of the abortion Holocaust. And this group is out of Southern California, and we're going to be talking to Kristina Garza in a moment here. But before we do, let me set the stage for the first segment, and we're going to be talking about what happened most recently on a college campus with a professor. Now, I don't need to tell you this, that college campuses are typically very hostile to the message of Christianity. And they're very hostile to the message of life, that is the pro-life view, that we should protect preborn children. And that it's the institution of the college campus, from the professors to the administration, that are generally hostile to this message. And most recently, we've been seeing this with the professors who not only come out and may engage us on a college campus, but they lead protests against us. This happened recently at the University of California at Santa Barbara, where a professor actually stole the signs of the survivors of the abortion Holocaust. This made national news, and it really uncovers a problem that is endemic across America on universities. And what I want to do here is play a clip. This is a short audio clip from Megyn Kelly's program on Fox News, in which she interviewed the two young women who were the victims of this, if you will, this violence or the theft of their signs and what happened afterwards. So let me go ahead and play that clip. This is from Megyn Kelly's program on Fox News.
And now to a Kelly File exclusive. A 16-year-old pro-life protester says a female college professor stole and destroyed her sign and then attacked her. Watch.
She's a thief. It's a professor.
We'll take it too.
What?
You better guide your other sign because we'll
Do
take it
you realize
too.
how much he was just making up? Like,
I may be a thief, but you're a terrorist.
I may be a thief, but you're a terrorist.
I may be a thief, but you're a terrorist. That's what the professor said, is that It's okay to steal people's property, I guess, if you're a professor at the University of California at Santa Barbara. But the real terrorists to her are those who expose what abortion is and does. So let's bring in Kristina Garza. Kristina's with the Survivors of the Abortion Holocaust. Kristina, thanks for being on the Mark Harrington Show.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
I'm great. Good to hear your voice. Kristina, let's talk about this particular incident, if you will.
Absolutely.
And I know, let me ask, where are you right now?
I am actually on another college campus here in sunny Southern California. We are in San Diego at San Diego City College. Our campus outreach team travels to colleges and high schools every day. And so we do about 8 outreaches a week. Today our outreach is at San Diego City College. We're talking to students. They're walking by. We're handing them pro-life information. We have a table. We have students coming and studying the fetal models, learning about fetal development, and learning about what abortion is.
So you do show the victims of abortion?
We do. We find that is the most effective method of reaching college and high school students.
Why? Because a lot of people don't like that. Even pro-life people don't like that.
Yes, we understand that a lot of pro-life people don't like using the images, but we find that it is most effective because our culture and our generation is so visually oriented. To be able to say, this is what we mean when we say abortion, it cuts out half of the conversation.
Right.
We find that today's society can't even agree on what abortion is. When we're able to use a picture of a victim of an actual abortion, restore humanity to that child, we can be on the same page. We can start a conversation with, hey, we agree that this person was killed by abortion, right? It cuts our conversation directly to the point.
Mm-hmm. Okay, my guest is Kristina Garza with Survivors of the Abortion Holocaust. And if you want to find out more about Survivors, go to survivors.la. Survivors.la. Kristina, let's talk about specifically this incident at UC Santa Barbara. Made national news. It was on a lot of the news stations, especially Fox News. Explain what happened that day.
Well, we have two students, Thrin and Joan Short, who were leading a pro-life outreach. I think it's notable that Joan and Thrin are 21 and 16. They were leading an outreach of their peers on a college campus. They had a day off from school, and they decided to use their free time to save children's lives by exposing abortion. So they went to the UCSB campus, UC Santa Barbara. They set up a very small outreach, and with about a dozen kids, they were just engaging students at UCSB in conversation. The professor came up. She was very angered by their outreach, by showing the truth of abortion, and so she led the students in a chant, tear down the sign, tear down the sign. And the professor tried to get the students to riot, to form a mob around the pro-life activists. And then the pro-life activists were able to engage those students. They actually started going up to them individually and having productive conversations about the issue. When the professor saw that the students were being separated by having productive conversations, she tried to rally them back together. You know, they're trying to separate us. They're trying to separate us. Don't talk to them. She didn't want the students to think for themselves. She didn't want them to have a thoughtful conversation. So to get their attention, she went and grabbed the sign and walked off with it, stealing Joan and Thrin's property. So she walked off with the sign and a couple of other students. She gets the students to join her in her crime by handing the stolen property to some other UCSB students. And so Joan and Thrin are following them with a camera. They get to the elevator where the professor was trying to leave with the stolen property. So Thrin tries to videotape her and get in the elevator so that she can retrieve her property, hoping to be able to describe to police where the professor was so that Joan and Thrin could receive their stolen property back. But the professor pushes her out of the elevator. Professor pushed her no less than 3 times, leaving scratch marks on Thrin's arm. This is assault. She pulls her out of the elevator by her arm, and then the professor leaves and actually destroys the sign with her students. She admitted to all of this in the police report. So we are hoping that UCSB will take action. The UC Santa Barbara campus has yet to discipline Miller Young to say anything about her actions. She has no business leading students in any kind of activity. She has no business teaching students. She said she wanted to set an example for them. No professor should be setting the example of breaking
the law. So, Kristina, who gives you permission to go on a university campus?
The Constitution of our country.
Okay.
It is protected by a free speech activity. It's protected by the First Amendment of our own Constitution.
So this professor wasn't telling you that you couldn't be there, right? I mean, they were just protesting your presence.
In fact, the university acknowledged our right to be on the campus. They said that the students, the pro-life activists' activity was protected by the free speech policy because the University of California recognizes citizens' right to practice free speech on public property. So the professor argued with the content of the free speech activity.
Right. And let's make this clear for our listeners. The United States Constitution, specifically the First Amendment, protects our right to go onto a college campus, even more so because it's a publicly funded school. It receives tax dollars from California residents who pay their taxes to support colleges like UC Santa Barbara. So that protects our rights to go there. But as Kristina's saying, often it's the content, and the university cannot make decisions based on content. That's content-based discrimination, and that's unconstitutional. So this professor just took it upon herself to go one step further. I guess it's her right to lead a group against you, even though that seems a bit biased, and they're supposed to be open-minded and allow all kinds of speech. I mean, we've had professors do that. But to do something that's against the law, which is to steal your stuff and then actually assault someone, that's beyond the pale. What is happening right now? Is there a prosecution? Is the Attorney General, anybody trying to bring charges against this woman? She should be thrown out of that campus.
She absolutely should. There are two issues here. One, she was charged with 3 misdemeanor charges by the DA, the Santa Barbara DA.
Okay.
She pled not guilty to the charges of theft, assault, and vandalism. So last week...
How can she do that with the video? I mean, we have video evidence. How can she plead not guilty to theft and assault when it's all on camera?
It's all on camera and in the police report. In the police report, she says, yes, I took it. I took the sign.
So, okay, so where's it going from here? Do you know?
So we wait to see if the DA and Professor Miller Young and her lawyer have a settlement hearing. We'll see what happens with the DA. And then we are also calling on the university to dismiss her. So far, the university has taken no disciplinary action. Actually, as far as we know, Professor Miller Young is still teaching students and forming impressionable minds with her whatever happens in her classroom. She's actually a professor that teaches pornography and glorifies pornography in her classroom. On the UCSB website, it says that her area of expertise is pornography. So she knows what she's exposing her students to. She has no business teaching. But the university has said nothing about her criminal actions. So we are calling on the university, the UC's president, Janet Napolitano, our former Secretary of Defense, to come to the aid of students and fire Miller Young.
My guest is Kristina Garza for the survivors of the abortion Holocaust. We're talking about this incident at the University of California at Santa Barbara. A professor stole some pro-lifers' signs and assaulted a pro-lifer. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Mark Harrington Show.
What do other pro-life leaders think of Mark Harrington and Created Equal? Listen to Scott Klusendorf of Life Training Institute.
Created Equal is about changing this culture, and that's what we have to do if we are going to win this fight. And Mark and Seth and the others on the team of Created Equal are doing just that. And I am happy to endorse their work. Glad to call them fellow companions in this fight for the life of the unborn, and I certainly hope you will support and work with them as they work on reforming this culture so that it has an appreciation for human life.
Mark Harrington is a missionary and free speech advocate, and Mark has been on the front line of the debate over abortion for over 20 years. Mark needs your prayers and financial support. Please support Mark and Created Equal by going to createdequal.net or send a check to Created Equal, Post Office Box 360502, Columbus, Ohio 43230. Your gifts are tax deductible.
We're rocking and rolling on the Mark Harrington Show. Your voice of resistance, your radio activist here on WRFD. Talking to Kristina Garza from the survivors of the abortion Holocaust today. She's on a campus in Southern California doing what she does best, and that is to expose abortion to as many students as possible. And we're talking about this situation at UC Santa Barbara where a professor, of all people, someone who would understand the importance of the marketplace of ideas and the First Amendment and be open to all points of view and exposing young folks to contrary views, pro-choice, pro-life. But no, she organizes a protest against the survivors. And when that doesn't work, she steals their stuff, their signs, and assaults one of these young people. That's what's happening across America. On these college campuses, which, by the way, you fund, folks, with your tax dollars. This is a result of Christians, the church, abandoning this mission field, handing it over to the God-haters, to the pagans, to the unbelievers, walking away from this mission field and giving it over to people like this professor who teaches a class, I kid you not, in pornography. I mean, if it weren't so tragic, it would be funny. But that's what this woman teaches at UC Santa Barbara. And people are sending their young people, their kids, their children, to these schools to be taught by a woman like this, funded by your tax dollars. Thank God for Kristina Garza and survivors, those who want to take this institution back, want to take our college campuses back for Jesus Christ, and do it in a profound way by presenting the truth about the fact that we are made in the image of God. Kristina, tell us more about the survivors. I know you guys this summer, you have a training camp, youth conference, campus outreach. Tell us more about you guys and what is the mission of survivors?
Yeah, thank you. Our mission is to equip and activate youth and young adults, our generation, to end abortion. And so we do this three ways. All of our events are very inspiring. We have a pro-life training camp in the summer. This year it's going to be June 23rd through July 4th. And we teach everything, A to Z. Anybody that is interested in getting involved in pro-life activism in any capacity will learn everything they need at our camp. We cover how to write a press release, how to hold an event, how to, should you be in a public area and encounter persecution from the police, what are your legal rights, how to handle a conversation with an officer, how to promote your events and market your events. And then we actually take young people out to the streets of LA and Orange County in Southern California, to the public fora, to the beaches, to Venice Beach and Hollywood Boulevard. And we do activism, so we are able to allow young people to practice being leaders at camp.
Let me make a point here, Kristina. Here's the thing. If every church youth group should be doing what Kristina does. Every church group,
absolutely.
every church, every pastor should be leading young people and teaching them the pro-life apologetics and evangelism, and should be teaching them and leading them out to the very place where this is coming in conflict with the world. The battle is being waged on these college and high school campuses. But because the church has failed and abrogated its responsibility to raise up the next generation, we need groups like Survivors, a parachurch ministry. It's vital that we get behind folks like Kristina, who does the seat work, the training, the feet work, taking them out to campuses, and the repeat work, which is giving these students the resources they need to continue the work. So, Kristina, again, this summer, what do you got going on? Because I want folks to consider going to Southern California and spending some time with the survivors.
Absolutely. If any listeners know of any young person they'd like to see become a leader in the pro-life movement, send them to our camp. We've had students come out of our camp and start their own pro-life clubs, their own pro-life groups. Some young people have started their own pro-life nonprofits. They've joined missionary teams. They've gone on to have pro-life internships, or they have simply just revolutionized their church community because they become activated. They learn the tools they need to be a leader. They become empowered, and they get introduced to a supportive pro-life community. And they have friends in the movement that are helping them run these events.
This is 2 weeks, right? In June. Give the dates again, Kristina.
We see students come in and they're afraid to even have a conversation with somebody. They're super shy. They leave and we can't even hold them back. We can't shut them up because they become so on fire. So our camp is June 23rd through July 4th. It's in Orange County, California, and Silverado.
Gotta love that.
Our website. Yes, it's beautiful, sunny Southern California. Our beaches are awesome. You can visit our website at www.survivors.la to learn more.
Survivors.la. Survivors.la. Here's the thing, folks. Where would you rather do pro-life mission work? Southern California on the beaches? I mean, I'm not trying to paint the rosy picture because it's hard work and it's difficult, but it's all good. I'll be going, and folks, I'd like to lead a delegation, a group of folks with me to Southern California to be with the survivors from June 23rd to July 4th. Your kid will never be the same. Never be the same. Kristina, what else is going on?
Well, after camp, we invite students to join us for the missionary team. Our campus outreach team travels throughout the country to public colleges and high schools to do pro-life outreaches, a lot like Created Equal do. We do about 8 outreaches a week. We reach hundreds of students a day and hundreds of thousands of students a semester. Each semester, we hand out about 30,000 pieces of pro-life literature. So we are truly changing the culture. We're reaching one heart and one mind at a time. We're having conversations about abortion. We're making abortion public.
Describe how you would reach a high school, because that's different than the college campus where you can walk on because you're protected by the First Amendment.
High schools are actually our more effective outreaches.
And why is that?
High school students have not been hardened yet by the academia of the public college systems.
Mm-hmm.
We find that high school students are still receptive to the message. They still think that the baby's life begins at fertilization, and so students are more open to hearing about the pro-life issue. So we bring the signs of the abortion victims to public high schools. We stand on the public sidewalk as students are dismissing, and this is really just a quick outreach where we are able to talk to students as they're on their way out of school on the public sidewalk. We hand out pro-life literature, and we engage students in conversation. Now, sometimes
do you yell at people?
I'm sorry?
We got about a minute here, and I want to dispose of one of the stereotypes of groups like yours and mine.
Sure.
How do you treat those who disagree with you? Do you yell at them? Do you call them names?
No, we move on to the next person. We don't have time for disagreements here. We are saving babies.
But I mean, how do you treat them? Are you confrontational? Are you dialogue? Is there mutual respect? How do you treat someone who disagrees?
all of the people on the team are Christian, and we believe that we need to treat every single human person with kindness. And so we do understand that a lot of people have personal heartache connected to this issue, and we treat them with kindness. We definitely want to approach every conversation, every confrontation with respect and patience. We do not want to incite any confrontations, and we certainly don't want to see any violence. We want to have civil conversations. So we try to engage people in civil conversations.
Amen. My guest has been Kristina Garza with Survivors of the Abortion Holocaust. Survivors of the Abortion Holocaust. Go to survivors.la. You want to find out about the pro-life training camp from June 23rd to July 1st. I'll be heading out there. I'd love to have some young people come with me. They'll never be the same. They'll be changed forever for Jesus Christ. Survivors of the Abortion Holocaust. God bless you, Kristina, and God bless all the work you're doing out there. Keep it up. You've been listening to the Mark Harrington Show, your voice of resistance. We'll be back next time, same station. God bless you. God bless America. And remember, America, to bless God